Hello, it's time, and we are back. I'm your host, Jonny Gomes, two-time World Series champ, and of course, we have the brains behind all this, S2 Cognition, with the founders of Brandon and Scott, along with me to break down some of the most elite plays. And I can break it down from a standard athletic ability side of things, but Brandon and Scott are here to give us what they're great at, and that's a cognitive way of how the brain works and what is happening in their brain in a split second for these athletes to make the plays that they are going to make, that you and I and all of us are going to watch at the same time. Coming up, Brandon Scott, check it out. I don't know if there's a bigger name on the planet right now than this gal, Caitlin Clark. I mean, she's doing some big things. She had a three-point contest against Steph Curry, going head-to-head with Steph Curry. And a lot of people were picking her to win. So, I mean, let's just break down what's happening. I mean, we're watching something that we've never seen in women's basketball history.
Yeah, I definitely jumped on the bandwagon during the March Madness run and watched a lot of Caitlin Clark, and obviously you see her do some crazy things in these clips. Shooting is something, Scott probably has a little bit of expertise here in this motor control and motor repetition and motor learning and things like that, but from a visual standpoint, it's definitely a skill of Caitlin Clark's. I mean, she processes things visually very quickly. She reads defenses very quickly. She has unbelievable, we term it court vision, right? But the ability to broaden her attention, see where all of her teammates are, see where open passing lanes are, see where open court is to drive, and the ability to just locate teammates very quickly. She's not only an elite shooter, I think it doesn't get talked about enough, she's an elite passer too. I mean, she finds teammates very quickly, has that sort of eyes in the back of her head feel. Scott and I talk about that visual learning piece where you take this snapshot, really have a representation sort of mentally of where teammates are, where opponents are, and just quickly find them. Just an unbelievable athlete from a cognitive standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, her processing of the visual court is unbelievable, but it's not enough just to process what you see. You've got to be able to translate that into action and split-second control of your actions. And you'll see from Caitlin this uncanny ability to just make little moves, little subtle moves, time her movements and her reactions to buy daylight, to create daylight. Just a little step back, little move to the left, dribble around a screen, stop, pop back. I mean, she's not only seeing the court, but she has incredible control over her actions, reactions, and can change them in an instant.
Yeah, Scott, something we talked about when we were watching that clip with Messi last week, and Caitlin seems to do this as well. These elite athletes are able to use these just subtle body movements, or it's not like the old days, just like a head fake. They're actually using the ball in the way that they dribble or the way that they move, or to get, like you said, just buy a little extra time or get a little bit of an opening to take advantage of, like Messi with the goalie here, and you see Caitlin doing it here. I mean, she is just making defenders who are elite defenders take a split second to go the wrong way, and she just is able to control all of this while maintaining the idea that, okay, as soon as they bounce here, I'm going to dribble here, I'm going to shoot. It's just really remarkable.
Yeah, when you really start breaking down the unique aspects of being on offense, and so here she has the ball. She has the opportunity to create opportunities here and to see how the opponents are moving, how our teammates are screening, and do little things, just kind of set like she's going to shoot, and then little head pump to get the defender to fly by, and then cross step. So creating in a kind of a proactive way is one element, But then there's a reactive element, going up for the shot and then having a hand in your face. We talked about that a week or two ago when we saw a drive to the glass and switching hands and coming underneath and off the glass. That reactive ability. So it's both proactive in the decision-making control and reactive. And that's what separates some of the best point guards on the court.
Yeah, proactive and reactive, right? I mean, how do you practice that? I'm sure S2 Cognition's got plenty of ways to do it, but however you describe it, what a remarkable talent, fun to watch, and fun to watch her career so far this early. But let's take it over into some softball. We got Alabama versus Tennessee. We are going to see some nasty, nasty pitching. Scott and Brandon, how about this pitch sequence? The one thing that I love about baseball and softball is the chess match, the pitch to pitch, the pitch setting up the previous pitch. What happened the last pitch? What does the catcher think the hitter is coming? What does the hitter think the catcher has coming? And vice versa. The chess match of baseball and softball, so exciting. Go ahead and break this down. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Obviously, we're seeing pitch sequences here, and you can really tell that, she's changing location and changing speed and having that control. Scott, I'll let you really jump in on this coincident timing. I'd love to hear you talk about coincident timing. But from a visual perspective, Jonny, you've brought up a couple of different things. One is the difference in baseball and softball. And hey, can softball hitters get baseball? Yes, for sure. Something unique here is the arm angle, right? Having a baseball come from over the top and a softball coming from underneath, two very different arm angles and how you process that visually. The other thing is, I don't know that everybody out there knows that, right? Is that 70 miles an hour, which some of these ladies can throw from that distance, which is the old Little League distance, I think it's like 46.6 or something, is equivalent to like 110 miles an hour from a big league mound. So this ball gets on them very quickly. So to be able to process all of that visual information, the hitters are at a disadvantage here. There's also no mound in softball, right? And we know that helps from the pitcher side because the ball is coming from about a foot and a half off the ground. So you visually have got a lot going on there. But the way that this particular pitcher uses speed and location, I gotta also say that catcher is doing a phenomenal job of framing up some pitches there too, which makes it hard for the umpire to visually process what's going on there. But yeah, Scott, what do you make of the ability to change speeds like this and what it does to a hitter?
Yeah, I mean, what a pitcher wants you to hit her pitch, right? Even if it's your favorite pitch, she wants you to hit where she puts it, where she places it. And you can see there's a little bit of off speed going on here. She starts off the at bat keeping it low, and then she tries to come inside, and then she gets her to walk up the ladder a little bit and chase something high and inside. I mean, this is what makes, we talked about this last time, mixing pitch speeds is one of the pitcher's greatest weapons against a hitter. The second is mixing placement and the location of the pitch and moving it in and out and up and down and getting you to chase and bite. Those are two powerful weapons, and this is a phenomenal pitch sequence to kind of see how she is moving it up and down, in and around, getting the hitter to swing at the pitch she wants the hitter to swing at, and eventually it leads to a pop-up.
Yeah, like you mentioned, what a tough at-bat. I don't know how many people are having a good at-bat off that sequence. I mean, this poor girl is going to leave with an F5, pop up to third base, and a bruise on her thigh. Pretty outstanding pitching sequence right there. I think we're all getting a quick intro into wall climbing, wall speed climbing, rock climbing, indoor rock climbing, what's going on right now. But what we are going to see is the world record of the fastest wall climb, rock climb in the world. This is remarkable. And again, one of these sports that I love when all four limbs are doing something at the same time. Really unique, Tough to do, tough to manipulate, tough to practice, and this is an outstanding feat of talent right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of physicality here, for sure. A couple things from a cognitive perspective that sort of stick out for me is one, there's probably a lot of pre-run planning here, planning your route up based on proximity of the sort of poles and things like that. So you've got to have some type of memory for that, right? You've got to remember where those things are in space. From a visual perspective, you're taking this snapshot pre-run, kind of remembering where things are, and then you're literally searching for targets as you climb that mountain. You're searching for your next pole, searching for your next hole, searching for the target at the end. So there's a lot visually going on here, but I would imagine, Scott, there's some motor control happening here as well.
Yeah, you look at what she has to do. If I get out there and do this, I'm focusing on one foot placement at a time. She is 2 or 3 moves ahead in her mind, and her body is playing catch up, which is incredible. That her brain has to anticipate moves several moves ahead, and then she has to pay attention at some level to where her body is right now and reconcile those two, because if she misses something, then she's going to have to intervene and correct. But this is an incredible example of how our body, you can send commands out to your body to do things after several, half a second after you've already thought about it. And so she's sending these commands, reach here, grab here, and then the body's still down 2 moves back and still has to execute those. Really incredible how she's got to think ahead in the future, and her body is just executing in the moment.
Scott, we've been doing this together for 10 years. I don't know that you've blown my mind as much as you might have just now. So can you talk to me a little bit about the fact that she is visually processing things in her present, but motor commands are she's still a little bit later, or even 2 moves. So she's planning while her body is executing. I've never really thought about it that way.
Yeah, and this is kind of an emerging thought, and I'm not an expert on this way of thinking about our actions, but I've read a little bit about it, and it's really an incredible idea that before you move, the brain makes a prediction about the movement, where you should move, how you should move. And then as you are moving, the brain is reconciling that prediction and what you're actually doing. And if all goes well, if your actual movement aligns with your predicted movement, you're grooving, you're going. If though your predicted movement and your actual movement don't jive, so if your actual movement, if she misses it or she slips a little bit, then the brain kind of inserts and says, hey, we need to correct something here and fix something here. So that is absolutely what's going on. She is moving several steps ahead of where her body is. She's making those action decisions. Like when you type, maybe this is a little bit of that. When you type, you are, one finger. If I type the word, let's say baseball, when I hit that B, I don't have to think about the action associated with the A. I can stay at the level of the word, but my fingers, one action hitting the B triggers in the brain this automatic pinky movement to get to the A, which then triggers the S. And so the actions, one action triggers the next action, and without even have to think about it when you type really fast. And there's an element at which she is doing this here. Each action is triggering the next action, but she's already thought about it. She's already predicted where she needs to go, and her body is taking those commands and just sequencing those well behind where her mind is already racing. Because if she was taking the move at a time, she looks like, a rock climber, a typical rock climber, where they're just calculating their move and thinking about it. she can't do that. She's got to be ahead, and her body is just executing these steps that her brain is programming. Her head is looking up the entire time.
Yeah.
And so she's taking snapshots of where these anchors are. And she has a few where her both feet hop at the same time in the air. She's looking up and she's trusting. She has a spatial sense of where those are, and she hits them perfectly. She is not, reaching around looking to see if she's going to hit it. She has to trust. She sees it up here, and then she's got to trust that her legs are going to know where in space they have to go to hit those small little targets.
Absolutely. I'm going to also guess that this is not her first time up this particular surface. I just have never thought about this speed climbing like this.
Could this be, is this like in golf where they move the hole? Do they change the configuration and this is potentially your first time seeing it? I know what you're saying, Brandon, that maybe they get practice here, but maybe they switch it up and everyone has to do the same course, and though you're actually having to do this on the fly. That I don't know the rules. That would be I've never done it. Surprising, I've never done this before.
Dude, if this is her first time up this particular run, I'm removing all comments about hitting a baseball being the hardest thing in sports or hitting a golf ball into
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Hitting a 90-plus mile an hour fastball with horizontal movement, vertical movement, that wall's not moving. But what I am going to do is absolutely tip my hat to the world record of speed climbing right there. And what a remarkable feat. How about being all in on an all-female show today? That was outstanding to watch. Really cool. And how about committing with the like and subscribe button for all of us, helping us out, helping our content, getting it into your hands. And how about it today? What a great show. All-female show. Pretty cool to follow.